In quiet corners of the Namibian landscape, communities are reshaping their futures in the midst of a worldwide pandemic. School children in these communities were among the worst affected by the measures enforced in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, with multiple interruptions staggering formal education. Here in the small rural community of Koricas, situated in the central north of Namibia, known as the Kunene Region, new ways to communicate education are being explored. Meet Christina Nanuses and her learners. They are part of the Practical Life Skills project, which aims to equip young people with practical knowledge and skills in times where close to 40% of the active annual teaching time has been lost due to the pandemic. Today, Practical Life Skills project coordinator Lloyd Ulrich has been invited to attend an afternoon baking class hosted by Mrs. Nanuses for a group of young learners from a local school as part of the project initiative.
Practical Life Skills is about giving young people the opportunity to learn things that are not part of the formal curriculum but are part of the hidden curriculum that turns every adult, every being into a functioning being. COVID-19 has changed everything in the world, and it's had a very, very negative impact on the quality of education in every country of the world, because quality is determined by volume over time. With all the lockdowns that we've had, the time has been drastically reduced. So anything that children can learn to do for themselves will be of help when they reach for life after school.
The project recruits, equips, guides and coordinates parent teachers like Mrs. Nanuses and many others within the community with the necessary resources to host practical life skills classes in the absence of regular schooling caused by the pandemic.
Ik werk met 24 meisjes en ook zie ik dat die lokale vrouwen ook belangstel. En als ik zo met hulle werk, dan weet ik dat één dag iets om voor zichzelf te doen. Zoals met hulle eigen handen.
I've learned how to bake cookies and biscuits and how to work with people. I think this will help me to make my own business and to help some of my people and my family.
If I finish my school, I want to go and make my own market by selling and baking my own things, helping my families with baking.
As a ma van de kinderen is baie bly om te sien hoe hulle vorder.
In order to discover that you can, you need to be given the opportunity to try it out. And the project wants to give young people the opportunity to try out things that, in the current circumstances, they don't have the opportunity to find out and to try.
Situated in the heart of the Damara land, the relentless midday sun continues its journey across the rural landscape of Koricas. With its estimated 6,000 inhabitants and an unemployment rate of almost 70%, this community was one of the most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, project coordinator Lloyd Ulrich is visiting the Velvitia Secondary School in Koricas to meet with local project coordinator and teacher Zelda Saul, who oversees the project at Velvitia Secondary School in Koricas. They are scheduled to meet with Velvitia Secondary School Principal Mr. Kabende to discuss the project's progress and overall impact on the student community.
The Practical Life Skills project was well received at our school. When we started implementing this project, we started seeing a lot of advantages, a lot of good things started happening. The motivation of learners rose. We started seeing learners' communication improving. Learners and the staff members coming together, including the community members who are here as facilitators of the Life Skills project.
Classes taught as part of the project initiative include a metalworks class presented by parent-teacher Mr. Sidshern, who is teaching his learners to weld a sign for the school.
Being a teacher is not just sitting in the classroom and giving lessons. I felt that going the extra mile, letting these learners or these children that is entrusted to me become something in life. And that is what made me think, no, this is the answer that we have been waiting for in Corrigas. The Life Skills Project really has benefited, especially the learners at this school.
We were very fortunate that we discovered that we met representatives from the Helena Charitable Foundation who were willing to give us an opportunity to write a project proposal. But a project proposal cannot be written about people, it has to be written with people. And I must say, if it had not been for the two courageous regional directors who gave us an opportunity to listen to us and to explain what we wanted, what we felt, what could happen.
Next, project coordinator Lloyd Ulrich visits the Corrigas Regional Council, where he has been invited by the Regional Director of Education, Mrs. Angeline Janse, to discuss the project's progress within the Kunene region.
The project has really positive impact on our children. And I personally feel that a child that is trained now to do those basics, I think for that child, in future, that child can become an entrepreneur. Because if the child does not finish his or her school, they can use those skills. So I personally feel that this project really made a big impact on the livelihood of our children.
Next, the project takes us to the neighboring region of Erongo in the coastal town of Swakopmund. Established in 1892 by German colonialists, the town has a population of about 45,000 inhabitants. In Swakopmund, we meet fellow project coordinator and former educator Mark Jacobs as he prepares for a meeting with some of the local school's facilitators and learners to assess the project's progress.
Having worked in Erongo Region and also in my early years in education in Kunene, what I've realized over the years is that there has been a lot of emphasis on academic achievement when it comes to the education of learners. And we thought that the project would offer an alternative to learners and not just focus on academic achievements, but would also prepare them with a practical skill that they could utilize. There are a lot of contrast in this country in terms of people's ability to make a good life and to make a good living. So in a sense, we are also hoping that the project would help to, in some way, maybe in a small measure, but maybe also in the future, alleviate poverty in our country. Because if young people have a skill that they can use to generate their own income, it would also then help them to improve their lives and to also have a better life going forward.
Today, project coordinator Mark Jacobs has been invited to visit Westside High School in Swakopmund to meet with the school's project facilitator, Mrs. Kamati, and to meet some of the learners taking part in a gardening class as part of the project.
The practical life skill project is very much important because it teaches kids skills that they don't get from the classroom. These are some of the skills that one needs in life, but then there is no classroom to teach you to do that. Kids learn to be independent. For some, it has changed their discipline. they are expected to finish something and they can complete it, they feel a belonging, you know, to a group that like they are accepted and they can do something nice.
I love being outside. I love being with nature, and I care about our environment. This course really helped me as approaching my adulthood right now, because now I know I have a lot of options to take. I can go into the environment company, you know, and like have my own, start our own farm, you know, help our country.
COVID-19 has impacted me in a better way since we don't come to school on a full day basis as we used to come. We only come on Pacific some days, and this has also affected my education. During this course, I have learned a lot of things. Specifically, I've learned how to do compost, how to make my own homemade compost. I've learned how to grow crops. I think what I've learned is going to help me in the future, because as I'm growing up, I want to have my own garden. So this means the knowledge I have picked up is going to help me very much.
They grow veggies and they take care of their fruit trees, and then they are the beneficiaries, so they eat those veggies and their fruit.
Not too far away, teachers and learners from another school are also participating in the project.
For many of the learners, it's a safe place to come to. So it's a youth development program, it's a community development program, because we have community members facilitating in the program, and that also in turn helps them support themselves. This project is important because we not only equip learners with life skills that they can take with them everywhere and anywhere they go, and it's also the fact that nobody can take these skills away from them. It's an opportunity for learners to rediscover themselves and actually realize the potential that lies within them that they did not know, they were not aware of.
When I started going to the classes, I started doing things I never knew I would have done, and amazing stuff. I'm like proud of myself. I hope to become a businesswoman, because I would like to open up my business and create something that the world can use.
On his final stop for the day, Mark has been invited to the office of the Erongo Regional Director of Education, Mrs. Stefanis, to discuss the project's progress and potential future in the region.
COVID-19 taught us that we have to change the way that we are teaching. The practical life skills project came at the right time. The impact of COVID-19 was also that the employment was also affected. Most of the parents lost their jobs, and in that way the practical project assisted learners to bring practical skills at school level, where we have different skills like gardening, woodwork, cooking, needlework and sewing, to name but a few. COVID has taught us that we have to do things a new way, and we should not lose hope.
We've learned a lot. We have learned from our coordinators, we've learned from our side, we've been in a constant dialogue. And we would like to have an opportunity to continue what we've started this year. We'd like to continue it next year. The long-term goal is, of course, if something has been done once, it can be done a second time. And although this time we're a donor that does it, every school has got access to parents, and in every community there are parents to teach. And although you cannot have a formal woodwork class, there's always a parent who can teach the children about woodwork. Although you do not have a school garden, there's always a parent willing to call the children over and say, let's go to my garden, I'll show you gardening. And I hope that others who see this will be encouraged